Yes. Oh, and we are live. It is good to see all of you who are joining us on another edition of Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. And we are in for a treat. You know, every marriage has a story. Every marriage has a story. And sometimes people tend to disappear before the ending of the story or while the story is still being played out. So today we're going to be in for a treat as we have our pastor on, Pastor Terry, and his beautiful wife, Samantha, joining us for the conversation tonight. And they are going to tell us how they made it with their years of marriage and everything. So stay tuned. Go and tell someone that we are live and we are ready to hear about another couple who is making it here in the Bahamas and will help all of us and those of you around the world.
Good evening, Unique Couples community. We are back. We are Vito and Linda Patrick, and we want to welcome you to another Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. And we are in for an awesome time this evening as we have special guests in the house with us, our church pastor and his beautiful wife, Pastor Terry and Samantha Tannis. And they are going to be talking about the Tanis story, how we made it. And we're going to have a great time. If you haven't subscribed to the Unique Couples YouTube channel, you want to go ahead and subscribe. Our ratings are showing us that 70% of you that are watching today haven't subscribed to the Unique Couples channel.
Whoa.
So you want to go ahead and subscribe to the Unique Couples YouTube channel. For those of you that will be watching the replay, go ahead and type in hashtag replay. Those of you that are tuned in, go ahead and type in hashtag live squad. Let us know where you are watching from. Also, let us know how many years you have been married.
Yay. Awesome. Let's see those numbers in the chat. Okay. Hello, Pastor Terry and Samantha. Good to see y'all.
Hello, Pastor. Hello, Samantha. How was today? How are you guys doing?
Wonderful. Awesome. We're winning the day.
Yes.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff.
We know the days are long, right? The days are long.
Yes.
Right.
a challenge in marriage could be navigating it all. That is just something.
Exactly.
Okay, so we are excited. Thank you so much for joining us. We know your schedule is
Thank you
busy
for having us.
and
Yes.
everything. So we just want to say thank you, thank you for taking the opportunity to come and share. Yes, with us. I see Claudine is here. Thanks for joining us, Claudine. And Angela, all the way from Nassau. Thanks for joining us live, and all of you who are, and we can't see your comments. So if you don't comment, we will not know. A lot of you reach out and say, "Hey, we've been watching y'all," but we say if you don't leave a comment, we wouldn't know you've been there. So go ahead and comment, leave some love in the chat for Pastor Terry and Samantha.
Yes. So we are going to dive straight into the conversation, and we're gonna get this party started. So,
All right.
Pastor Tannis and Samantha, can you let our viewing audience know who you are, where you are from, your profession?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
A little about who you are, right?
Yeah. Sure. Hello, everyone. It is such a joy and a pleasure to be on this beautiful show. Of course, we are disciples of your show. Well, I am Pastor Terry Tannis, and this is my lovely wife, Samantha Italia Shireen Kerr Tannis.
All the names.
All the names.
Yes, and I am from the beautiful island of freedom, Eleuthera. And I met this beautiful lady in Nassau. Of course, she was born here in Grand Bahama, but she escaped the beauty of Paris and went to Nassau, but I brought her back. Of course, I am a pastor, and of course, in my current profession, I am now the president of the North Bahamas Conference. My wife, Samantha, is a teacher of 17 years. Of course, she is an excellent English teacher, and I depend on her to critique and edit and give me good advice on my sermon presentation. So she's my personal advisor. She has multiple hats that she wears. Of course, we are currently living in Grand Bahama, or the Freeport Grand Bahama, with two wonderful children. Our daughter, our firstborn, Samaya, and our handsome son, Samuel. We love the Lord. We love our family, what the Lord has done for us. And here we are this evening with you, lovely couple.
Yes.
Awesome. Yes, and not to forget, yes, Family Life Directors of the North Bahamas Conference as well. So
Family Life Directors of the North Ministerial Director, if you put it that way.
Yes. Yes, call it upon to make sure. So our people will be hearing a lot more from you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
So thank you for letting us know a little about yourselves and your family. Let's get to the fun stuff, the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone wants to know.
How and when did you two meet? I know you said you are from Eleuthera and she is from Freeport, and you all met in Nassau, but we want to know all of the details. But how and when did
She
you
is from Nassau. We met in Eleuthera, my brother. In Eleuthera.
Yes, we met in
the land of freedom and love.
On Sabbath day.
On the holy Sabbath day.
That's right.
Take that.
All right. So we were just teens at the time, I believe.
I was 15. She was 14.
14, yes. And his aunt and my mom are very good friends, even to this day. And she took us over, myself and my sister, to Eleuthera, where he is from. And that's how I met him. So it was a Sabbath that we traveled over to Eleuthera. And during the Sabbath school time, we had to separate to go into classes. And his class, that would be the teens at the time.
Yes.
Was having Sabbath school class on the beach.
On the beach.
Yes. Ooh. So I had to walk across to the beach to join his class. And actually, how we met was just disagreeing, really. I didn't like the way he was explaining something in the Sabbath school lesson.
And I was the teacher, but she had to correct me.
Yes.
Can you believe it?
Started from there. Yeah, so that's how we met.
And she came to church with all these beads in her hair. She had beads all over here.
Okay. Beautiful breeds, I would add. Beautiful breeds.
but she was beautiful. Oh my goodness. She is beautiful. Yes. Yeah. You think she's still correcting me.
English teacher. Thank you, teacher.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's how we
listen, that doesn't have anything to do with English. That just has to do with, hey, we are women and we don't want no past tense with that. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, right.
Yes. So for those of you who are just joining us, I see Karen is here. Nicole, thanks for joining us. Leandra. And yes, I see we're putting in some comments. Let us know those marriage visits and everything and where you're watching from. We are talking with Pastor Terry Tannis and his wonderful wife, Samantha. He is the new president of the North Bahamas Conference, and we are going to hear their story and how they made it. And so if you are joining us now, go ahead and let someone know that we are getting in for a treat. So go ahead and share.
Yes. So we found out where you met and how you met and all that stuff. Now, Samantha, how did you know he was the one?
I want to hear this.
Wow. Okay. How did I know Terry?
Yes, I want to know.
Well, I have to tell you, when I met him at the age of 14, I called him my Prince Charming.
That's
and that
right.
is the truth. I nicknamed him Prince Charming. And I would say, we schooled together in college in Northern Caribbean University. And there we became best friends. So I think that is what it is, just growing into that love relationship. Also, we literally spent most of our time together. They used to call him my shadow. Right. And vice versa. I was his shadow. Mm-hmm. We just spent so much time together. It's a friendship. Another important thing for me was the ministry. So our relationship really grew out of ministry. We were a part of this group called NAPS. And every Sabbath morning, we would wake up, 5 a.m.?
5 a.m. in the morning.
And journey to
this Quick Step in St. Elizabeth.
Yes, in St. Elizabeth. And we were helping with other groups of young people with building a church, so we would literally prepare food and we spent the whole day at Quick Step. We conducted the whole service. Yeah. We would go into the community, we would witness, we held a crusade. So I would say ministry, the friendship, you just became my life partner. Yeah. And so that was it for me.
Isn't she sweet?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so sweet. So you're talking about moving from out of the Bahamas now and going to Jamaica because you're at Northern Caribbean University. Yes, my alma mater as well. So you continue this friendship, which developed into something more at college.
Yes.
And ministry kind of like bound you together.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
So, Pastor Tannis.
Yes.
How did you know Samantha was the one, and when did you get married?
Okay. The men always get these things figured out right. So I think I'll work with that.
He was trying to test you. He's trying to test you.
Let me make sure I'll give you some time so you could.
Let me breathe a couple of seconds. But if you're gonna marry somebody, if you're gonna fall in love with a woman, you want someone who believes in you, particularly someone who believes in you when you perhaps may not know or believe in your own potential. Someone who can push you, affirm you, and support you in what perhaps you don't even see yourself. And for me, I can remember, I can almost say it was one of the most defining moments for me in understanding my divine calling as a pastor, but also my purpose. And she was instrumental in helping to reinforce it. I remember I skipped a year. We were in school in 2000, I believe, or 2001, I was in school. I went to Jamaica and I skipped 2003.
He followed me to Jamaica.
Right. Yes. Now, I was already on a scholarship in information science at the College of the Bahamas. now the University of the Bahamas.
Scholarship.
Full scholarship. But it's something about love that you just when you know it and when you have someone that you value and you can see it as more precious than any and everything, nothing else matters. So a scholarship was minor, and look at us today. I am pursuing another degree, terminal degree. But the point is, before that commercial break, it was in, I believe it's her mother's apartment. I came to in 2003 to tell her, I didn't make enough money to go back to school. I said, maybe this thing is not for me. And I could remember the emotions, the tears. I saw a woman grab a hold of a man that she loved and look me in the eye, crying, crying and telling me, Terry, we are gonna make it. You have to go. All I had was my ticket, to be honest with you. But that perhaps that was all I needed, because I never lacked absolutely anything since I made that decision until I graduated. And it was for me the most defining moment for us, that this is the person I want. This is the woman that the Lord has placed in my life. This is the person I want to be. Not only because I witnessed it, but I heard it from others. Her integrity, the fact that I wasn't there, but she was talking about one man, the one and only man himself.
Hey.
I knew that this woman, the Lord, this woman of God, this lady was who God wanted for me. But that moment, that defined it for me. I wanted to be with her because I knew, ride or die, she had my back.
Yes.
Oh, and that is so important. That is so important, to be able to have that level of support from a friend, because obviously you're started as friends, and definitely for someone who you're going to live with or decide to spend the rest of your life with. That is definitely an important thing to have in a relationship.
Yes. Now we got married June 29, 2008.
Is he correct?
Correct.
Okay.
At 8 a.m. sharp.
Hey, because I was on time.
You were on time.
You were on time. Yes.
Awesome.
The minister was late.
That's right. I was before the minister.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well, I know the men, we normally get those dates down packed.
Yes, man.
We're pretty
Always.
good with those dates.
Really?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
We
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We hold it together.
Yeah. You got to give some points there for the men,
That's right.
You say so.
So, Samantha,
Yes.
next question will be, describe your best date together as a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, I can answer that. She had many of them.
But it's true, because I'm trying to think, and couples stand out. So definitely one for me. I love spontaneous stuff, creative stuff. Stuff that shows a lot of thought and effort. Outdoor stuff. I'm also I like to go and have fun, and we've done a lot of fun things together. Lots and lots of fun things together. But I know we did this date on the beach at night, where we cooked our food and we packed it all together and we took it on the beach. We lit a fire, and we stern outside. We have these little, what do you call them?
Yeah. Well, we have ceramic kind of, they're not pots, but they're like
food warmers.
Yeah.
So we can
and
light it.
They come with sternals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
very small ones.
Yeah, and we just did things like that. Spread a blanket. We spread out our food in the light of the moon. That was just awesome for me. Then another special one, I think would be his favorite, was this opportunity we had. I think it's one summer, to go on a yacht, a bonefish yacht. And we spent at least 3 days?
3 days, yeah.
3 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Out on the sea.
Quiet.
Beautiful.
My God, pitch black.
Yes.
At night.
Nights,
Yeah.
Fishing.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at the stars, talking, and I mean, just sailing the night away.
Wow.
Mind you, we came back as tar babies, really.
Yeah, we were really dark.
Because we spent so much time in the sun, but I mean, it was just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Awesome.
And just tell us, Pastor Tannis,
Yes.
how important is dating?
Dating is very important. And in fact, if I may quote somebody, for women are a quote unquote, forgive me for lack of a better word, but they are a sucker for romance. So in other words, it is an important aspect of the relationship. Connecting, talking, laughing. As a matter of fact, a lot of the difficult and challenging moments, you can actually disarm or heal in those sacred romantic moments. A lot of forgiveness for and understanding for mistakes are realized in those sacred dating moments. So dating is critical. Dating is also indispensable to protecting this, because when children comes along, sometimes a couple mistakenly place children between this here,
It just happens
which
naturally.
It's a natural thing, but it is not the best. It's not the ideal, because before them it was this, and at some point there will be after them. When they grow up. I mean, and we this at the end of the day, we ought to be able to look back and celebrate how this took care of them, and not we took care of them and forgot about us. And now we're trying to repair it, because some irreparable damage is done because we didn't take the time to pause and enjoy each other in that sacred moments of romance and dating.
Yes, awesome. So tell us what has been, I guess either of you or both of you can answer, the happiest moment in your marriage. What has been the happiest moment in your marriage?
We've had quite a number of them. But for me, I can tell you, when we welcomed our firstborn, that was a joyous moment for us. A new experience. And the fact that our firstborn was a girl first, Tanis little girl.
Hey.
Oh Lord, that thing was life-changing for us. Everybody was there watching. I got to go in and see some of those moments. While they are some indeed, that is a method of birth control all by itself. But let me tell you, that was it was a humbling experience for me. I expressed it to her that I appreciated, what she did in carrying our child and going through all of that moment. It was an amazing experience for us. Yeah.
Not for the faint of heart.
No. But it was indeed a precious moment. And I guess, there was another couple who, I don't know if I was nervous more than him, but boy, we went through it together, So it was so beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. But I'll be the same for you, Samantha.
I would have to agree. I mean, maybe not the birth part, but the announcement part, like finding out, Yes, finding out, I had this big plan of how I was going to tell him, you always think of crazy things to do. And when I found out, and I remember he just looked at me and I just burst out crying. Like it was just joy, like this pure joy, you know, and it was like a really special moment for us. Like you said, like a turning point, you know, because what we had been together at least 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
Before, you know, our first child. And we were ready at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So
were y'all a pastoral couple then? So we're all getting the questions. When does the child come in?
Yeah,
the potions. Right. I was just gonna say that's what made it more joyous, you know, that pressure, you know, the fear that boy, you know, is it gonna happen? And you know, all kinds of stuff. And then you get all these bush medicine, and you know, when we in this district. The district want you to have the baby in their district, and you leave and they ain't had none, and then you get to the next district and say, you ain't had no children yet. You don't need to have this. How you have a girl, you need to drink this. This how you have a boy. You know? Oh man.
But yeah.
Oh yes. Okay, definitely. You get those questions, and sometimes you just have to go with it and just take it in stride. But you know, other times, you know, it could be quite personal and emotional, especially for those persons, you know, who might be I don't know that they are having a challenge or anything. So that could be an issue. And I really want to employ people to kind of be sensitive, like even when they, you know, we just so naturally want to, and we'd ask these questions. Oh, you pregnant? Hey, oh, when is the baby coming? Or when do you get? You know, we want to ask these questions, but then we have to be mindful that hey, things may not be how it. You know, we have to be
right. And there's some genuinely real issues, concerns, you know, concerns that we ought to, you know, our hearts go for others, you know, who may be smiling in public, but you know, there's a secret pain that's associated with all of it, or pressure. I may put it that way. You know, that maybe also apply to just a simple jest of, you know, when are you all having a baby? You know.
Yeah. So we
give each couple their time and their space. You know. Yeah.
So even after the first one, then there's pressure for when is the second one? When are you going to have a boy? You know, when is he going to have a playmate? It never ends, right?
I remember my father took my Samaya and said, "Okay, this mine. I'll go get yours now."
That's right. So the pressure is always there. But one thing as couples, it's important that you make sure you do that planning so you can plan, because both of you will have to live with whatever you plan, because the grandparents, the godparents, all those different folks, they're gonna ask all these questions, but at the end of the week or at the end of the night, that child will be back.
That's right. And that was our plan. Those 5 years together was planned. So you know we were ready. You know, and Samaya came along.
Man, I saw some books thick like this. My wife sitting down reading them, man.
Hey, I studied.
You talk about every, you know, the man, I learned all about the trimesters and all kind of stuff. You know, she was ready. You know, so and if I may add, I went to almost every appointment.
That's right.
Yes.
Awesome. That is great.
Yes.
So for those of you who are just joining, I see Annie Murtis is here joining us live. Tasha is joining us live. Well, remember to share. Hi, Veronica. Leave some love for the Tannises in the chat. Let us know your takeaways by the time we're finished. So we've been talking about some happy times, and now we want to talk about some of the challenges. So stay tuned in as we continue. Hello, Dan and Deborah. Thanks for joining us, Karen. Yes. So we want to stay tuned in for that as well. For those of you who are joining us and married, and maybe you've been married newlywed and you've been married a month or 2 years, or you've been married for 50 years, you can still go ahead and join us for our challenge. Go ahead and join us for the Unique Couples Challenge. You want to make sure that you are connecting with your spouse on a daily basis. Oh, yes. You want to connect with your spouse intentionally. You want to make sure that you two are expressing love and meeting each other's needs. So go ahead and join us for that challenge. There, yes, I see Francis Newbold is also watching, joining us as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead and share. Jenny, yes, Jenny is on too. Where are you watching from, Jenny? Jenny's in Eleuthera. Yeah.
One of the family.
Yes, go ahead and share for us as well. Thank you for joining us. So we're back and we want to talk about those challenges. We know that every marriage has its unique challenges, and those challenges come sometimes at the most inappropriate times. It seems sometimes those challenges could leave us breathless. Those challenges could take us by surprise. So what have been some of the challenges that you have faced, and how have you resolved them?
Okay. Okay. Well, for us, again, I'm a pastor, and pastoring takes you out of the home for an inordinate amount of time, or a significant amount of time, let me put it that way. And then, so that alone, just the pastoral ministry, so that puts a lot of pressure on your relationship, the time that you need to spend together, the time you need to spend with your children, so that was, but for us, we move so many times.
Yes.
Wow.
You're talking about the challenge for us, the challenge to the children, and how they feel. I can remember in this particular district, my daughter was watching, I can't remember the name of the movie, The Karate Kid or something like that. And the little boy, this black boy was talking to his mother, Taraji Henson. I can't remember I think it's Karate Kid. Yeah. And he said, I hate it here. He had tears in his eyes. And my Samaya looked at me and said, with tears in her eyes, Daddy, this is how I feel.
Wow.
That meant so much to me. I felt like the weight of, I felt it for her, multiple times she's had to move. And honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better family understanding the children, even understanding, the most flexible as much as they could have been, adaptable, everything, just to make it as comfortable as possible. But we are humans. You feel it. You feel it. The weight of, changing schools and why ladies are personal. You don't just pick up one day and get a friend in the next location. You build relationships, and you are picky and choosy and who you want as your friends. So
spirits meet.
Right. So, you can imagine how my wife feel that she has to go and now make new friends. So she's now home. I'm the pastor. So I am out. I'm now a pastor administrator. I'm out. I am traveling. In fact, my office, I have to fly to my office in some cases, or I flew to my office in some cases, on 2 to 3 days out of the week. Or I'm gone for the week. I'm in another country. So it puts a lot of strain on her and the children, and but I thank God for their ability to, they were willing to adopt and adjust, but I can tell you, they feel it, and I identify with it. So I appreciate that. So when they say to me, Daddy, we need to jump, or I need to jump, I just tell them, yes, ma'am, how high? So we thank God that we're able to adapt and adjust, because, we moved some 11 times.
Wow. 11. Wow.
Homes.
That's homes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So what has been the challenge for you, Samantha?
I'd have to say the same thing, but especially for the children, because I would definitely play a very important part in maintaining their stability, in academics and in everything, and like he said, you see the effects of it even in the children, and so you're trying to just normalize things, trying to bring some sense of order and continuity, and just to help them in coping, feeling a sense of belonging, building those relationships again. So definitely, I was never really big on change. So to see how many times I would have had to change, location, and like he said, just different relationships, so I know God is doing something amazing, but it gets better over time. I believe we are learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I even see it in the children. A lot of times, when we're hesitant to make a move because we're thinking of them, my daughter said to me, "Mommy, let's just go. What's important is that we are together."
Mm-hmm.
And to see her come from, "I hate it here," to let's be together,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, thank you, Lord. And you're praying for them, and you're praying that it isn't a long time effect. That's the scary part about it. I don't know, but that's the scary part about it. That yes, we see now, but I'm afraid of the effects, that may surface in the future. And we can see that they too are adjusting, they're growing, they're learning. So yes, that has been the most challenging part for me. Just keeping us together, keeping us sound, keeping us happy as a family. Mm-hmm.
All right.
No matter where we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And that can be a challenge, but like you said, you work together as a team, and even your daughter helped you all as well. So that was great. Everyone working together.
That's right.
That challenge.
Yes, you can see the maturity. I haven't said I've known her long, but you can definitely see that. Yeah,
I am so proud of her.
Definitely
So
helping
proud
her
of
with
her.
that growth and maturity. Very good.
Yeah. If you could impart a lesson from your marriage or life together, what would it be?
Is it very, 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 very important? There's a temptation, and I really appreciate the question. There's a temptation that comes from Satan to every couple that came to Jesus. If you are the Son of God, come down off the cross. Marriage, I don't want to say it I don't want to be considered in a bad way, but marriage is like going on a cross. And there's always a temptation. If you think you can do better than this, come down off the cross. Then when I say it's a cross, it's because it's about self-denial. It's about caring for each other's needs, ministering and supporting each other, and your family. Especially if there's children involved. A lot of couples don't even consider the serious impact that their own decisions make on their precious children that they brought into the relationship, that are the results of the relationship. So my appeal is to couples to have the will to make it. Take divorce and separation and this on and off, take that off the table. That's not the subject of our deliberations.
It's not an option.
It ought not to be an option. Discard it right away, not far from your conversation. And we are discussing substantive issues in how to make our marriage work.
Yeah.
Not so it's you have to have the will to make it. The will to make it. Eliminate the temptation to regret that you've decided to be married. Eliminate it. Just choose not to regret, and choose to will to be deliberate in making it. And the Lord will give the brain the ideas and ways to make it, to build that relationship that is essential. And then again, problems are inevitable. Problems are inevitable, but God didn't put couples together to solve problems. That's not what marriage is for. It's not a problem-solving agency. In fact, 70% of problems cannot be solved in a marriage. 70% are unsolvable. Only 30% are solvable. And in some cases, some of them are static, which means that they will always be there. Like our personalities, like how we think and how we see our world. And then you have some that are dynamic, like in-laws or work, and stuff like that, like dating and issues like dating. So we have to be careful how we share our information or our issues with others, because what may be a static issue in our marriage may be a dynamic problem in somebody else's marriage. Yeah. So here you take somebody's temporary solution and you bring that solution into what could be a static or a problem that is constant. You see? So it's not always the best idea to just be sharing your business out there like that. Let the Lord, who established the relationship, build it and strengthen it, work together. Get a little advice here and there. Don't get me wrong now. Get a little advice. But be careful that we don't undermine what God joined together.
You know, in college, we got this book of poems. I don't know if you remember that book of
Absolutely.
Poems I got for him. I don't know where the book disappeared to.
Somebody stole
it. We don't even know when the book disappeared. Yeah. But we got something very important from that book of poems. And it is our motto. To this day, we look at each other and we say it. We won't say it yet because I want to say something.
Okay.
It was like the first page of the book, and we learned that I don't know if it's a poem or that.
It's our commitment.
It's our commitment.
Our will to make it.
And we would literally just look at each other and say,
even though relationships are not always easy, with God's help, working hard can be very easy when the results can be the beauty of a loving and lasting us.
And then we say our names.
I love you, Samantha, Italia, Shireen, Tannis.
All of those names, you know, and we would do that. And what it reminds us of is that God is in this. God has brought us together. When we made a commitment to each other, we made a commitment to God as well. Our marriage is bigger than us.
Yeah.
It's bigger than us. You know, we see our marriage as a ministry. Not to say that it isn't for us, because we're living it and we have to be real and live a real marriage. But what we look forward to is the bigger picture, a loving and lasting us through Jesus Christ. So definitely one of the important things I would say for us is that we present our marriage to God. We are very big on prayer. And, you know, I never really realized that is something we have in common. I did not know that he loves to pray as much as I love to pray, you know, and I think I realized it when we were leaving a district and they commended him on the fact that he loves to pray. And it's true. If there is anything, the first thing he would suggest, and the first thing I would always suggest, is prayer. And we believe that the family that prays together stays together. So you best believe we pray together. We get up and we make that our commitment. When the house is quiet in the wee hours of the morning, we're going to pray together because we need the help of the Lord and because we want the beauty of a loving and lasting us.
Yes, that's powerful. That's powerful. And that, I don't think you guys call it a poem, but that phrase that you said together, that was also powerful as well. Yeah. That was excellent.
We need to commit to our commitment, because sometimes we just we see the problems, we see the obstacles, and we want to jump off the cross, right?
Right.
And we want to give up,
Right.
but
Right.
we have to constantly remind ourselves that, hey, together we can do this. We are
Right.
in this together,
Yeah.
and
Right.
no matter what happens, we will face it together.
Right.
And so,
Right.
there are some couples out there, and they are facing challenging times, and some of the issues that they encounter may not be the issues that you encounter or even we encounter, and that's why we love to bring different couples on and allow them to share that, so that maybe something you said could resonate with someone, or something another guest speaker said could resonate with them. But there are challenges, and so what could you say, or what would you say, or advice would you give? And of course, we are saying this in a general way, because we know not everything we say and everything we do will match anyone's situation.
Right.
But generally, we're
Right.
saying, what marriage advice do you have for those couples who are struggling and they want to give up on their marriage? What words
Right.
of encouragement would you give those persons who are facing this dilemma in their marriages now?
Right. The first thing I would say is what God told Adam: I will make and help meet for him. When we get married, we got married for each other, not against each other, not to be against each other. So marriage, if you look at the verses, God is now telling Adam about the Garden of Eden and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and that he should not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And then he says, it's not good for man to be alone. I will make him a help me for him. In this context here, God is saying that marriage is one of God's mitigation systems of helping us to deal with challenges, doing it together, supporting each other, building each other, being there to protect each other, even from ourselves.
Yes.
You know, my affair-proof strategy is my wife. You know, I can't use myself because or my title as an affair proof. You know, that's the ladies love the pastors too. You know, and we are all vulnerable. So it's not so God made us each other's mitigation strategy. So in other words, when we fight together. Yeah. Not against each other, but for each other.
Yeah.
And then again, God did not build. I want to say to couples, God did not ordain marriages to be problem-solving agencies. Mm-hmm. So we have to control problems. If not, problems will control your marriage. Yeah. You have to schedule problems. You have to have a day. Put it on it. Can we talk about this at this time? You don't want guerrilla warfare in your marriage. You're eating, you're fighting. You're getting dressed, you're fighting. You're going out to church and work, you're fighting. You're cooking, you're fighting. You don't want guerrilla warfare marriage. Everywhere, everything you do, you're fighting. You have to schedule problems. Problems have to be controlled. Yeah. And then you declare together, how do we deal with this? So that in other words, you isolate, you distance this from the problem. It's a very difficult thing to do when you're upset and you feel that it's your spouse that did the wrong and the offending. But it's very important that you protect this, very important, and distance problem from each other. And what it does is problems or the challenges that might have intended to separate you. When you separate the problem, God has a way of bringing us together and distancing us from the problems. So it's very important that we separate it. If not, the problem will separate us. So I just want to challenge couples today. If you're going to fight together. Not fight for each other, not against each other, and distance yourself as a couple from the problem, and don't look at each other as the problems.
I also would like to add to that. I made a decision a long time ago not to let anyone or everyone have a say about this. So not everyone gets to speak into me about my marriage. I believe a marriage is between God and a man and a woman, and so they have to make that decision. Marriage is a decision. Each day we decide to be together.
Right.
We decide to love each other.
Right.
All right. We decide that we're going to make this work.
Right.
And it calls for maturity. It calls for you to be really mature in your decision making. And like he said, remember why you came together. All right. So if the focus is on the team, that team effort, I always remind him, we're a team here.
What's gonna work?
Teamwork.
Yeah.
I like to say it, because sometimes the enemy makes us enemy. And if we allow him to do that, then we're going to be like this, separate. And if that's what he's doing daily. He's bringing the thoughts. He's bringing the people. And that's why I said I made that decision. Not everyone gets to speak into this, And, like I said, prayer is so important to us. We commit our way to the Lord. And that way is marriage. We commit marriage to God. If there's a concern, if there's a problem, I'm asking God, Lord, I'm making it plain before him. I'm not telling anybody else, but I'm telling him. He knows it all. What I can't even say to Terry, I'm going to say to him. And he gives me the grace, the patience, the love, the advice. And I'm sure he's doing the same thing for Terry and helping us to make that decision daily to be team players, working together for the best of ourselves and each other.
And another thing, what else can I say? the one of the things that I realized in prayer that I even to this day that I see God, oh my God, that he does. You want to see the fastest thing that God does for in your life in terms of miracles and responding. Ask God to restore your relationship. Ask God to repair it, to heal it. There's sometimes that I say, boy, Lord, I don't know I can get out of this one, but I'm asking you to help us to heal and fix this. And either she would come to me and say, well, let's talk or whatever, or the Lord will cause us to bump into each other and be right back in it. Something happened. And the Lord just put it back together again, when you ask, and I'm speaking to my couples here this evening, when you ask the Lord to fix it, confessing your part of the problem, the Lord will move quickly. He moves very quickly when it comes to restoration.
And making yourself available to be changed.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we look at the next person as the problem. It's him, Lord, or it's her, Lord, and just present yourself to God, and he indeed works within the marriage. If both of us are available to him, open to him, then we leave room for him to work. And he's the glue that keeps us together.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that advice to couples. So if you're out there and you're struggling with a particular issue, remember to distance yourself, distance the problem from the two of you, so you two can get closer together and the problem can definitely be away from you. Now, we had someone mention that, hey, you need to share that piece of quote that you say, so we'll get it, so we can put it in the comments so that other couples can benefit from it. That was a request, so we want to make sure that they are able to get that.
It's actually a reset moment. It's like when you see that the relationship gets to a climax, that thing escalated so high, it's your woosah. It's our woosah. How we reset. That's our pause button. So it's a very good tool.
All right. Awesome. So thank you very much, Pastor Tannis and Samantha, for sharing that advice on couples. At this time, Pastor Tannis, we're going to pause for a moment and Can you just pray for the
Yes.
couples that are watching and those that will be watching the replay, please?
Sure. Father in heaven, what an honor it is to be here on the Patrick's show, a beautiful couple who has blessed the world with such important tool, learning how to enjoy our relationships with each other. God, we actually only have one moment together, which is now. There's no future tomorrow or this or next year, 10 years from now, only now. And a lot of us take for granted this the preciousness of now, forgiving each other now, working together now, dating each other now, spending time with each other now. And we take it for granted so much so that when that opportunity is lost, we regret it. I pray for the couples that are viewing right now and those that will view in the future, that you bless them, that you protect them, that you provide for them, that you show them that you are all the resources they need to sustain a divinely appointed institution called marriage. God, marriage is still honorable in your eyes. And I pray for every man, every woman that decided that they want to be joined together and to become one. Strengthen each couple in their journey to oneness, even my own and Elder and Sister Patrick and the many couples that have you, and even those that perhaps are contemplating marriage or divorce. Oh, Jesus, abide in our hearts. Remove the pride and place within us that spirit of humility to be vulnerable again and allow each other to influence each other in growing together. Thank you, O Lord, for dying for marriages. Thank you, O Lord, for living again to save marriages. Thank you for coming back for families as a bride adorned for her husband. Keep us, O Lord, I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Family of praise together stays together.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And we just want to say thank you again to Pastor Tanis and Samantha for taking time out of your schedule to be with here this evening. And as we conclude this program this evening, can you go ahead and tell our viewing audience how they can get in touch with you?
Oh, sure. Pardon me?
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So, you can call me or WhatsApp me at 1242-636-3078, 1242-636-3078, or you can look me up on Facebook. I think I'm there. I don't use it as much, but you send me a message, I may answer. Or you can just email me at Tanis, Tanis, at nbcadventist.org. Of course, if you can't get me, you can get the wonderful Patrick's family, and they'll get to me. My people, your people will get to my people.
All right, so we have the number. You put in the
Tanis at nbcadventist.org.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. And we'll put in the number. Yes. So thank you so much. You got it on?
Yeah.
Awesome. Lizette, thanks for joining us all the way from Abaco. And we see Pastor Clark is joining us as well. Thanks for joining us live. I don't know, you probably see the rest of the names of the persons who said hi. But yes, thanks for joining us tonight. And then remember to share. We really enjoyed hearing about the Tannis' journey and how they made it. And we know they have a whole lot more to share. But hey, we want to make sure that you come back next week. So come back next week and tune in to the other conversation. And so we want to keep it short. So we're not going to spend a whole lot more time. So you'll have to listen out and again for when they come and join us to one of our events, whether live, online, or in person.
All right.
Yes.
So we had fun sharing with Unique Couples community today. Once again, thank you to Pastor Tannis and Samantha. We had a great time. So here at Unique Couples, we are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. We love you guys. Have a great rest of the evening and have an awesome week.
Bye.
Bye.